Hey, in today's video, we're going to show you how to mount your TV up on the wall. And remember, these are huge. These are not the TVs you can afford to pull over on your head. So we got to do it safe. I'm going to show you how to do it and find your studs in the wall to make sure it's mounted properly. All right, so when you're hanging a TV on a wall, really it comes down to what kind of bracket you're going to be using and how you want that bracket to function, where you want the TV in the room. In this particular case, it's going to be center of the wall. So it makes life really simple for us. So we just need a couple of numbers, right? So what I do is I measure the wall, and it's 138 inches minus the depth of the railing. So my center point's gonna be around 70. So I'm just gonna estimate, throw a little painter's tape on there, and we'll measure off 70 inches right there. And here's my center. All right, and I always just draw a little C on that line to remind myself what that's for. Now, this TV is a 65 inch, and remember when you're measuring TV, it's corner to corner. So the actual dimensions are going to be different from one manufacturer to the next, so make sure you have that information available. Write it down on your tape, make your life simple. Our TV is 57.5. And it is 33. Okay. Now we have all the information that we need to mount our TV. This is the back of our TV, and just for visual, I'm going to show you. Here is our mounting holes. Now traditionally in these brackets, you can get them a variety of different sizes, so you have lots of flexibility. The smaller the bracket, the cheaper they are. And my friend Max here is so cheap that he's recycling his bracket. So what we're going to do is we have a 16-inch bracket, and we have a 12-inch gap here. Yeah, which will work out great. But you'll see that the mounting holes are not in the middle of the TV. So we have a 33-inch TV, which means that I'm looking at 16.5 inches is my midpoint. The middle is right on the top bracket. So this is really important. So when you're trying to figure out where to mount this thing, remember that the center of this TV is actually right on the top of the mount. Okay, so what we have to do is take a look at, this is the center of the TV. Our mounting holes on this TV are 12 inches apart as well. And so we have to minus 6 inches on our center line on that wall to make sure that this is mounted properly, so that visually it's in the middle. Very key. Always double check your back before you go jumping ahead. You might be putting the mount in the middle of the wall, but is your TV going to hang in the right spot is an important question. Okay, so the reason I'm using tape here, and I'm going to just mark it like this for fun for now. Here we go. So, in order to find out where we're going to mount it, we want to remember a couple of different things here. One, when you're sitting down, the average person is between 44 and 48 inches in a seated position, regardless if they have long legs or not, okay? So, really what you want to do is be able to measure off the ground, first of all, where that is. And we'll put a little mark right here, okay? X marks the spot for your sight line. And that represents basically the middle of the TV, horizontal in the seated position. Now, when you're sitting down, your eyes can make an adjustment up and down about 5 degrees before your head starts to tilt. And this is an important thing to know, because you don't want to be sitting here like this watching TV all night. It'll give you mad cramps, and you'll curse the day that you mounted that thing to the wall. So what you want to do is you got about a 5-degree change. So you need to take into consideration how far away from the TV you're sitting. In this case, it's across the room, it's 12 feet. So when we're doing slope for our drains and stuff, it's a 1/4 inch for every 4 feet is a 1-degree slope. So over 4 feet, if I'm doing 5 degrees, it's 5 times 1/4, it's 1.25 inches for every 4 feet. 4, 8, 12, 3 times that, about 4 inches. So the rule of thumb is if you're across the room, 4 to 6 inches, and you're probably in a comfortable zone from your midpoint, okay? So we're gonna measure that off now. And we're gonna go 6, just because this TV is so huge. We wanted to make sure that we can keep that off the wall a little bit. Now, here we go. That makes my center line here. 16.5. That makes the top of the TV. And the bottom of the TV is off my tape mark. Right down here. And then you got to ask yourself the important question. if my TV's this low, and I want to add a shelf to put a sound bar or equipment on it, I want to give a couple inches and then add the shelf plus the space for the equipment. Is that at the right height? So here we go. Let's mark this out. Just visually, I'm a visual guy. I love math, but I love to see what I'm doing. Sometimes it's the little things, you know? Like it'd be nice if the TV finished on one of these lines or exactly an inch up and down, something like balance. So this is the bottom of the TV, all right? So what we know is that we're gonna be putting some equipment on here. Generally speaking, 4 or 5 inches is enough, but it's nice to have just a little bit of space. So let's consider 6 as our number. Okay, so that'll be 6 inches of space, and then we have room for our shelf. Now, our shelf is gonna be 2 inches. That takes us a 1/4 inch above this line, and I don't like that, so I'm gonna actually install the bottom of the shelf right on that line. That takes all the math away. I threw a level on the wall earlier, and this print is actually level, so our job gets real easy. So visually, if you can imagine, our shelf is gonna go right here. And by the way, products like this are available all over the place nowadays. There are stores popping up all over, carrying old vintage wood, aged wood, reclaimed barn boards, that sort of thing. So go out and shop, have some fun. And if you want to see how to install this on the wall, we're going to be showing the demonstration of how to do this on a rustic video. There'll be a link at the back of the video, which you can check that out. So now we got to put all this math together. We've got our top, we got our bottom, we got our center line, we got our measurements, we got our TV marked out. And we know that the center line, which is right here, coincides on the TV with the top of the bolts. Remember, we measured that out. So now I know I have a bolt here, X marks the spot, and I know I have a bolt 12 inches down. Okay? There, that's 12 inches. Now, here's the secret. From this center line, we want to find our studs. Whew. I know that these TV packages, when you buy your package, you're going to have this little plastic envelope, and it's going to be very overwhelming because there's like 8,000 pieces of hardware in it. And what they are is it's a kit that has every kind of machine bolt and length and size for every kind of TV on the market, give or take. There might be a couple of weird ones, but almost any TV you can mount with the hardware that's in that kit. So 95% of the hardware you have is garbage. The secret before you start is to identify which is for your TV. Don't use power tools to figure that out. Just take the bolts, manually put them in the back of your TV, and if it threads more than 2 or 3 times, you're going to be fine. Save it. Now, once you've got your hardware established and you know exactly where your bolts are going to be, this is our height to make the TV center. Now we need to know the width. I believe we had that established. It was 12 inches as well. It is. Visually, I just want to mark off where my TV is going to be going. So when I'm looking at my studs, here we go. We're going 12 inches. That's my mount, give or take, for the top bolts. Now, here's the secret. When you are unable to use a stud finder or you don't have one, there's a couple of basic rules. Rule number 1, all those plastic plugs in the TV unit for hanging a TV on the wall, throw them in the garbage. They're useless. I don't care what it takes. You find the wood in the wall, you open the wall, you add wood, you buy a bigger wall mount so that you can find this, you drill 1,000 holes, you find the wood. Do not use those plastic anchors. Someone's going to get hurt. So what we're going to do is we are going to do a fact-finding mission. Now I know from my habit that wall plugs, 99 times out of 100, they just put the box right on the frame when they run the wire for the house. Usually this is done before the installation is done. This is an exterior wall. So what we want to do is take the cover plate off. Now every one of these boxes is live. There are screws in it. So go to the bottom, not by the screws. And I figured that was, go beside the steel box on the outside. And it should be jammed right up against the stud. If it is, your screwdriver is not going to go anywhere. If it's on the other side, yeah, it'll bury right in like that. So we know that the stud is right here. Okay, we'll cover this up again. All right, so one secret. Usually when they're framing a house, they do the outside walls, then the inside walls, and the easiest way to measure for framing is from the outside wall, every 16 inches on center. So if that holds true, then the wood right here is at 32. Bam. Okay, so we are in great shape. There's my red square. This tape is made for framing. Every red square is where the stud is gonna be. 16, 32, 48, so on. So I'm gonna come up here and we're gonna work with the assumption that things are level and square. And then we're gonna fine tune it when we get there. All right, so let's start here. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that, that is perfect. Right here we have the assumption that the stud is at 64 inches right on my tape line. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. So before we finalize our measuring, we have to finalize the location of that stud. So this is where our stud line is going to be, according to what we just figured out. We're going to drill a few little pilot holes, knowing that we're mounting a wall mount here. You can't over damage a wall that's going to be hidden. So let's guarantee it first. This wall board is 1/4 inch thick, 1/2 inch drywall. Once we get through the wall board, it'll just drop right in. If it goes like that and then it stops, it means it hit wood. So let's find out. Oh, yep. Okay. The way to double check is put it in reverse and try to push. Okay. If it's not going anywhere in reverse, you know you hit the wood. Okay. So I do have a stud there. But the question is, when you're putting in a big lag bolt, did I find the very edge of the wood or am I in the middle? And this is key, because we don't care if we hit wood, we care if we hit the middle of the stud. Those bolts are huge, and if this green represents the thickness of the board, and I put in a lag bolt off the corner, and the grain of my wood is going like this, then the bolt will hit it and tear it all to shreds, and you'll be mounting in a lag bolt onto something that seems strong, but then the wood will split from the backside and the TV will start to sink. That's frustrating, because you go through all of that work, you get everything cleaned up and decorated, and then you sit down to watch TV and you go, huh, it used to be level. So what we're going to do is, we know that a stud is 1.5 inches wide. We're going to drill about 3/8 to the left, hit wood again, confirm it in reverse. We'll try it over here. Oh, that one all the way through. Okay, so I'll try it over here now. Yeah, I can feel it there. Strange, eh? There's no guarantee your stud's 1.5 inches. Sometimes the stud will be cut off the edge of the tree with a bit of a live edge where the bark used to be. So we know that we have wood from here to just off the tape line. Here, I'm just gonna make this easier to see. We have wood from here to here. Guaranteed. Whatever the reason is, that is only 1 inch wide. And I don't care, because now I know that my mount is going to go right in the middle of that, so I'm guaranteed that my bolt is going to be in the middle of that stud. So, what we do from here, we measure over 16 inches. Okay, from here. And I know that I'm going to have a stud. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark the center of the next stud, and then we'll drill and confirm it again. Because God forbid that I'm actually going to believe that something is straight and square and everything's where it's supposed to be all the time. When I'm mounting a 100-pound TV over top of where my 2-year-old's going to be playing, yeah, it's going to stay on the wall. Every time. All right, here we go. Let's drill this. Of course, framing is 16 inch on center. So, and look at that. No stud. Isn't that enough to freak you out? Okay. So it's not to the left. It's not to the right. Oh, we found something. Way the heck over here. Okay, that's wood. There we go. Let's just double check. All right. Yeah, we're only 15 inches on center on this one. Wow. All right, so that hit wood. Let's confirm to the left of it here a little bit. Yep, there's wood there too. There wasn't there. There will be here. Okay, that's the edge of the stud. I can feel it right off the side. Yeah. All right, so now we know where our stud is. It's time to bring in our level. Now remember, this was the point that we were going to have our bolts put on. All right, so there we go. Let's put the level right on my spot. And there's my level. So now I'm just going to mark. Okay. And remember, the longer the level, the more accurate it is. So try to use a level that fits the space you're working in. If you're going to put up a TV that's 5 feet long and you use a 1 foot level, it's going to be crooked. I mean, it's just going to be crooked. Okay. So use a nice long level, 4 or 5 feet. Now we have our line that we want to drill at. And I'm going to do this just to make my life easier. I don't know how well that's going to show up on the video, but I can see my line here. I can see and behind the tape. So I know that is dead center where I'm putting my bolt. And I know this is dead center of the wood where I want the bolt level. Okay? So now we got to visualize this. This is my TV. Here's my studs. All right? And they are 14 inches apart. So here's what we know. We're gonna put this here, just so you can see it visually. This particular bracket gives me the option to mount 16-inch on centers with these holes. My wall is not built right. Great problem to have. So what we're gonna do is, instead of trying to find something that will attach to the wall that matches the hole, I'm gonna drill a brand new hole where I need to have it. Because I can drill through metal, that's not a problem. So it'd be much smarter to line this up, take your trusty marker, mark your center line where your wood is, pop out to the workshop, throw in a drill bit, and make yourself a hole. The bolt that they give us, when you put in the hole, has a little bit of wiggle room, okay? Even on the shaft. So I don't want a hole that's exactly the same size as the bolt. I want it a little bit bigger. So I grabbed the bit that basically fits in the hole, but here's how you can double check, okay? Line this up in front. If you can see the bit on the left and right side of that bolt, then it's a good hole. Remember, we're just creating a hole that's big enough for this to pass through, not something that we're trying to thread on. So remember, when you're drilling through metal, keep the drill on low speed, because you want the bit to do the work. If you go too fast, you create too much heat, and then you're not going to go anywhere. Okay, so real quick, we're just going to line up our holes when we've got flexibility there, and there's my new hole. Good. Okay, so that's going to work out great. Whew. Now, next thing you need to do is you want to mark all 4 of these holes. So we're going to take off the rest of our tape and we're going to lay it out, because I'm out of tape. We're going to pre-drill our hole. And the reason for this, it's not enough to find the middle of the stud. Lots of experience in dealing with building lumber. This is not the greatest wood in the world. You can't trust it because you can't see it. So what you want to do is you want to drill the hole that is the size of the shaft of your bolt, but not the size of your threads. Okay? So that way the threads are doing all the cutting and all the gripping, but you're not forcing the wood to expand left and right out of the way, because that expansion is when you end up getting a split. So if you have an aggressive grain in the middle or near a knot in the wood, and you just throw this into the wall, you can just split it, and then it's not really holding it to anything. So you're gonna have the same problem. Maybe not next week or next month, but maybe by next year, your TV's starting to fall off the wall. And then what are you left with? You're left with a broken wall. Now you got to open everything up and repair it before you can mount the TV again. So take the time, take your bolt, find the bit that when you lay it right out in front, it just about covers the width of the shaft, but all the threads are showing, okay? This is money. Now this particular bracket doesn't matter which way is up, which way is down. So I'm going to line this up. These holes do not have any flexibility, where these are oblong. So we're going to mark that one there. Get them in the middle of the hole. Mark the middle of the hole. We'll try to keep it as level as we can. But knowing this one thing, we have a secret. We know that at the very end of this, we can use a washer on our bolt when we're tightening, and we can make minor adjustments, letting that washer be compressed by the bolt head into this, and that'll hold the weight just fine. So even if we're a little bit off on our square and calculation, we can make minor adjustments, holding a level on our bracket when we're done. We'll pre-drill even the ones that we did before, make sure they're the right thickness. You saw it pop through in the drywall. Here we go. Nice and solid. All right, we're in great shape. Okay, now we are done with all of our tape. Yay! Don't leave this on the wall. It just looks unsightly from the side. So here we go. Moved on to the impact driver. This makes it so much easier than a ratchet. And just nice and easy on this, okay? We don't want to go too tight yet. We just want to get everything in position before we tighten it up. The top corner over here. Okay. Give it the tug test, right? Now you know you're secure to the wall. Very important here, especially when you're using an impact driver, you don't want to over tighten. There's resistance. This head can't go past the washer, past the bracket. So if you keep on turning those threads after you have it nice and tight, you're going to end up ripping all of the wood that's in that hole that you've created loose from the stud, and there's nothing left for that bolt to hold on to. So very key here. Don't just go in with the power tool. There is a limit to how much you can sink that bolt. So it's just the snug test, and that's it. Now, I like to work from the bottom. I'm a little out. Actually, these two don't really move. Little resistance. Nothing's really going to move here, Max, because of the washer. All right, okay. Now we got level. There we go. Okay. If I can't pull it off the wall, it's not falling off the wall. Just for demonstration, we're going to take a look now at how this mounts. So we'll have our bolts pass through our bracket into our TV. So this particular system, it's adjustable. There's a little wing nut on it so you can tighten and loosen, so you can hold this out. So you can actually tilt your TV or lay it flat. And this is the right side, so you can actually mount this, reach in from behind the TV and tighten it up in position. All right, but for mounting, we're gonna just give it a little bit of a lean, make our life easy. And then this is gonna grab on the bottom. So the way it works is you stick it on the top, you put it flush, and you pull the cable, snap into place. And then it slides back and forth. So what we did is we set our TV wall bracket so that the middle of this TV is in the right height. So if this is our bracket, we want this part of this bracket to be in the middle of that. So we want to split the difference between the bolts. All right, and this is maybe going to be a little bit of trial and error. This one's adjustable. So let's start down here. All right, so we're going to go with the third hole. Now these little depth setters are awesome. They're going to make sure that the TV is not off the wall and then it gets lots of airflow and it's not going to overheat. And again, this is a machine screw. You don't want to cross thread it. So just go really slow in reverse. There you go. One little clamp of that impact driver is all you really need. And here we are. So our brackets are attached to the back of this ginormous 4K television with which to watch YouTube videos with. And we are going to set it up there. And I think I felt it clip in place. Okay, visually inspect. Yes, it's clipped in place. All things are as they should be. Well, that's about everything we can talk about for mounting a TV to the wall. One little more tip though, because the walls are never built the way they're supposed to be, if there was adjustments made to the frame prior to drywalling because the sticks were bent, they would have cut and added another piece of wood. In our case, we found that little piece of wood and it wasn't holding the bolt right. So keep a couple extra bolts and washers handy, just so that in case something's not leveling off, or maybe you've got texture on the wall like we did and it wasn't exactly level, we were able to make minor adjustments, throw in a couple extra bolts with the washer to hold everything nice and tight. That'll keep you from going crazy. And once you got it plugged in, make sure to watch us. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, do so. Hit the like button. We'll see you next time.